So I was having coffee in Seoul with a friend, right? And another friend of his walks over to our table. After a quick hello, she just looks at him, my friend, with this like expression of genuine admiration, like total admiration. And she says, "Wow, your head is really small." I remember just kind of freezing, like, did I hear that right? A small head. I mean, where I come from, that's not exactly a compliment. It sounds more like a weird playground insult, you know? I was half expecting my friend to look, I don't know, annoyed, confused, something, but instead he just lit up, like totally beamed. He got this big, bashful grin on his face and sort of brushed it off, you know, the way you would if someone praised your new jacket or something. But she insisted. She was like, "No, really, it makes your proportions look amazing." And he was clearly like, really flattered. That single moment, just seeing this seemingly bizarre comment delivered as like the highest praise, that was a real turning point for me. It made me realize that the conversation around appearance in Korea isn't just a little different, it's like operating on a completely different level. It has its own unspoken rules, its own values, and it's in moments like that, you know, you start to see just how deep a culture's obsession with looks can run. Right down to the literal size of your head. What an introduction, huh? To a truly fascinating deep dive we're embarking on today. We're going to unpack the intense, captivating, and sometimes unsettling world of South Korea's appearance-conscious culture. It's often called Lookism. We'll explore how this phenomenon is just woven into the very fabric of society, like from job interviews, everyday stuff, all the way to the latest K-pop trends. And as we peel back these layers, we'll see what it truly means, you know, for individuals living within the system, for the nation itself, and for its huge footprint on the global stage now. We've really pulled together some incredible insights that highlight just how far-reaching this is. It touches everything from like personal identity to national productivity, even global soft power. So you might be wondering, okay, why? Why is physical appearance such a massive deal in South Korea? I mean, most people want to look good, sure, but this feels like it goes way beyond just, you know, wanting a good selfie for Instagram, right?
Oh, it absolutely does. It's really deeply embedded in the societal belief system there. There's this conviction, really, that good looks don't just offer a superficial boost. They literally provide tangible advantages in life. They act almost as a form of social currency. Just to give you a sense of the scale, there was a nationwide survey by Gallup Korea back in 2020. And it revealed an astounding statistic. A staggering 9 out of 10 Koreans stated that looks are important in life. 9 out of 10. Wow. Yeah. Think about that for a moment. That's practically universal agreement. It's not just, you know, a casual preference or vanity. It's more like a foundational belief. It kind of infiltrates the collective subconscious, shaping aspirations, careers, even national policies to some extent. It positions appearance as this vital form of social and economic capital, which is, you know, quite different from many Western societies where such an overt link might be seen as, well, inappropriate or even taboo.
9 out of 10. That's practically everyone you'd meet. And it sounds like this belief system isn't something you just, like, pick up later in life. It starts incredibly early, right? And touches pretty much every corner of life from the very beginning.
You're spot on. Yeah. Think about job applications, for example. For a really long time, it was standard practice, and in many cases, actually required for job seekers to attach a photo to their resumes.
A photo? Still.
Yeah, well, it's changing, but it was standard for ages. And it wasn't just a formality. Many employers openly admit, or at least used to, factoring looks into the hiring process. Some hiring managers even operated on this belief that more attractive candidates are inherently more competent.
Really? More competent?
Or perhaps that they've simply worked harder on themselves to achieve that appearance. So good looks become this visible sign of diligence, maybe self-discipline. This isn't just some minor thing or an unconscious bias we're talking about. Some surveys indicated that as many as 4 out of 10 Korean job applicants reported experiencing appearance-based discrimination during hiring.
4 out of 10, that's huge.
It is huge. It's a significant, undeniable barrier for many people, directly impacting social mobility and their career prospects.
That's such a powerful statement. So it's not just a subtle bias, it's almost like an overt qualification. I can almost hear a cultural maxim forming around that idea. Is there like a specific Korean saying that captures this?
You're probably thinking of JLO, right?
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
What does that translate to exactly?
It translates pretty directly to your looks are your ability, or sometimes your looks are your competence.
Wow, your looks are your ability.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a maxim that really drives home the point that your appearance isn't just superficial. It's not just a matter of personal preference. It's seen as directly impacting your success in school, in your career, even in your relationships. It basically transforms looking good into a form of self-investment, almost a skill itself, a currency in this really competitive society. It's like saying your face is part of your resume, or your skin condition is part of your professional toolkit.
That's wild. Just wild. It paints this vivid picture of intense, just relentless competition.
Indeed. And South Korea is, by its very nature, a highly competitive society, no question. This intensity has been amplified over decades of just incredibly rapid economic growth and urbanization. It created this kind of pressure cooker environment.
Yeah.
So in this context where the stakes in education and the job market are immensely high, physical appearance has become yet another stratifying factor.
Stratifying factor.
Yeah, it's another way to gain an edge, to literally stand out from the crowd. Or, conversely, to be held back, meeting those specific cultural beauty standards, like having that clear, flawless skin, a very slim figure, or particular facial features it's perceived as giving you a significant advantage. Not meeting them, well, that can feel like a major disadvantage. It pushes individuals to invest huge amounts of time and money into grooming, clothes, skincare, and, yeah, even pretty extensive cosmetic surgery.
So it's less about self-expression.
Much less. It's more about self-optimization, optimizing yourself for societal acceptance and ultimately success.
And it's not just about personal vanity, right? You mentioned it goes deeper. There's a cultural layer tied to historical values.
Precisely. Take dressing well, for instance. Presenting yourself meticulously. That's actually deeply rooted in Confucian values. Traditionally, Confucianism emphasized meticulous self-cultivation, both, intellectually and physically. It was seen as a reflection of your inner virtue and your respect for the social hierarchy.
Ah, okay. So it's about respect for others.
Exactly. Presenting yourself immaculately in your appearance and your dress. It became this nonverbal way of showing respect for the interaction and the people involved. It symbolizes discipline, self-control, social adherence. It goes way beyond just personal indulgence. It shows you care about the impression you make and you respect the people you're interacting with. It's almost like a moral obligation in a way.
Yeah.
A form of Yui propriety, which is fundamental in how you conduct yourself in society.
That explains a lot.
Yeah. It's why you'll often see, even for really casual outings, a level of grooming and presentation that might surprise visitors from other cultures. It's just baseline expectation.
Okay, so we absolutely cannot talk about appearance in South Korea without diving into the media. The influence of media, pop culture, it feels immense. It really seems like K-pop and K-dramas have set this incredibly high, almost impossibly perfect bar for beauty.
Oh, they absolutely have. It's undeniable.
Yeah.
Everywhere you look, right? From those meticulously produced, visually stunning music videos to the sprawling, captivating dramas, you see these just flawlessly beautiful idols and actors, constant exposure. And this ubiquitous exposure, it's amplified and really solidified very specific beauty ideals, glamorizing these soft, youthful, elegant looks and almost ethereal perfection for both women and men.
Right, it's not just women.
Not at all. It's even common, expected almost, for male K-pop stars to cultivate a very stylish, sometimes even androgynous appearance, often embracing lighter makeup, intricate hairstyles. These incredibly polished images create this almost dizzyingly high aspiration for young people. It makes these standards not just visible, but profoundly aspirational. And crucially, it makes them seem achievable. With the right effort, the right products, maybe the right procedures.
It's like a constant visual reinforcement of what perfect looks like.
Exactly.
And these aren't just vague suggestions, are they? We're talking about very distinct, almost anatomically precise ideals. The glass skin trend comes to mind immediately, or that super sharp V-line jaw.
Exactly. We're talking about extremely specific aesthetic goals. That highly coveted V-line jawline, often achieved through, contouring or even surgery. The large, almost doll-like eyes, and that perfectly clear, dewy, poreless glass skin that looks almost like translucent.
And you mentioned it's not just women.
Right. And make no mistake, this isn't solely a female preoccupation. South Korean men are known, statistically, to spend more on skincare per person than men anywhere else in the world.
Wow, more than anywhere.
Yeah. It demonstrates that achieving this level of grooming is really a universal concern. This is a society where these extensive, multi-step skincare routines, often involving 10, 12, even more products, aren't just common. They're enthusiastically embraced by pretty much everyone striving for that ideal complexion.
10 steps.
At least. It's a full-time commitment for many.
It's no wonder then. This leads us straight to that rather impactful statistic, right? South Korea being called the plastic surgery capital of the world.
It truly is. And the numbers. They're quite striking. As of 2020, about 1/3 of Korean women in their 30s had undergone some form of cosmetic surgery.
1/3.
1/3. Now compare that to only about 4% of men. So there's a significant gender disparity, obviously. But even that 4% for men is notably high compared to most global averages.
It's still high, yeah.
The sheer volume isn't just about intense domestic demand either. It's also a testament to Korea's really advanced medical tourism infrastructure. They have world-renowned surgical techniques and, crucially, a societal acceptance that views cosmetic enhancement not as some hidden indulgence, but more like proactive self-improvement.
It's like upgrading your skills.
Kind of. A sensible investment in your social and professional future. For many, it's just another step in the beauty routine. No different, really, from getting a facial or a new haircut. And even for those who don't go under the knife, and that's still the majority, makeup is seen almost as a daily necessity, like the bare minimum for presenting yourself properly. Looking good isn't just a preference, it's practically a requirement, deeply integrated into daily life, social expectations, all of it.
So it really is like, if your looks are your ability, then investing in them, even if that means surgery, is just practical, logical almost. Yeah. But this intense pressure, it must spark some kind of reaction, right? I'm thinking of the escape the corset movement I've heard about.
You're absolutely right. While the dominant societal norm leans very heavily towards prioritizing appearance, there is a powerful and notable countercultural movement. Escape the corset, talkuruset. This movement sees some Korean women actively rejecting these strict, often frankly, suffocating beauty standards.
How do they do that?
Well, they've been known to make very public symbolic gestures. Things like cutting their hair very short, sometimes shaving it, destroying or discarding their makeup collections, their elaborate skincare products, shunning things like high heels or restrictive clothing.
Wow, like a public protest.
Exactly. It's a powerful statement against the societal pressure to conform. It highlights this desperate desire for personal autonomy over their own appearance. And it's a rejection of the idea that their self-worth is somehow tied to achieving this narrow aesthetic ideal. It represents a growing voice demanding to redefine beauty on their own terms.
That's really interesting.
It is. However, while this movement is significant and I think inspiring, the broader societal norm still leans very, very heavily towards prioritizing appearance. So it makes it a real uphill battle for many.
Okay, so one undeniable outcome of this deeply ingrained, appearance-focused culture is the absolute explosion of the K-beauty industry. It's not just big at home, it's become this global sensation, an economic marvel, really.
It's an undeniable economic powerhouse, no question. It's a true testament to how cultural influence can translate directly into commercial success. Korean cosmetics, skincare, they're renowned worldwide now for their quality, their innovation, and yeah, their often astonishing effectiveness. If you walk into a Korean drugstore like Olive Young, you'll find this overwhelming, almost dazzling variety of products.
Oh, I've seen videos. It looks incredible.
It is. Everything from, whimsical snail mucin face masks to these elaborate 10-step skincare sets, the latest cushion foundations. It's endless. And this intense domestic demand, combined with incredibly high consumer expectations, has constantly driven these companies to innovate at just a breakneck pace. The glass skin trend we mentioned, it didn't just appear out of nowhere. It originated in Korea, and it really exemplifies the industry's ability to create and popularize entirely new beauty concepts that then just sweep across the globe.
And it's definitely not just about domestic sales, is it? K-beauty has truly conquered the world. It's a global phenomenon now.
Absolutely. The numbers really speak for themselves here. In 2021, South Korea's cosmetics exports hit a record high, 10.5 trillion won.
How much is that in dollars?
About $8.1 billion USD, which is huge. This impressive figure solidified Korea's position as the world's third largest exporter of cosmetics. They're trailing only behind like the giants France and the US.
Third largest. Wow.
Yeah. These products are now sold in hundreds of countries. From bustling markets in Southeast Asia to high-end boutiques in Paris, they've attracted this devoted international fan base. And the appeal, it's multifaceted, right? You've got effective ingredients, often really competitive prices, and then there's that undeniable allure of using the same products as your favorite K-pop idol or K-drama star.
That celebrity connection again.
Exactly. There's a cultural cachet that comes with it.
I've heard about beauty tourism being a real thing there. Like, people literally travel to South Korea just to shop for K-beauty. It sounds like a pilgrimage for skincare fans.
It is a huge phenomenon, a modern-day beauty pilgrimage. That's a great way to put it. Stores like Olive Young, especially in those tourist-heavy areas like Myeongdong in Seoul, They have fully embraced this. You'll find multilingual signs everywhere, dedicated tax-free counters to make shopping easier for international visitors. Some even offer luggage storage because people buy so much.
Luggage storage for cosmetics. That's amazing.
It's a vivid testament to how global the K-beauty craze has become. Get this. In 2024 alone, shoppers from a staggering 189 different countries made over 9.4 million purchases at Olive Young stores across South Korea.
9.4 million purchases.
From 189 countries.
Yeah. Just think about that. Nearly every country in the world is represented in their customer base.
That's a truly staggering number. It unequivocally shows how much this deep cultural focus has translated into just immense economic and soft power for the nation. We're talking about brands like Innisfree, Etude House, COSRX, Misha, even high-end labels like Solasu becoming household names globally now.
They really have. And K-beauty has truly become a global trendsetter, not just a follower. Terms like the Korean skincare routine, specific product innovations like BB cream, they actually originated in Korea and then spread internationally, often influencing Western cosmetic giants to adopt similar approaches or products.
Right, BB creams are everywhere now. Exactly. This entire phenomenon just underscores how South Korea's cultural focus on appearance has built this economic powerhouse that now influences global beauty standards. It's a key component of its broader soft power strategy. It's a remarkable example of cultural influence being monetized on a massive scale.
It's so ingrained that they even have casual, everyday phrases that revolve around appearance, don't they? It's not just in ads or beauty shops, it's in daily conversation.
They absolutely do.
Yeah.
And it really speaks to how seamlessly appearance is integrated into daily social interaction. For example, if a friend notices you got a new haircut or styled your hair differently, they might casually say, "Say ya, very it."
Which means?
It literally translates to, "Oh, you did your hair," or "You got your hair done." It's usually meant as a friendly acknowledgement, often followed by a compliment like, "Oh, it looks good." And it's meant as a sign of care and observation, not really judgment. It's part of the fabric of daily social interaction, a normal observation.
Not something to be offended by.
Generally not, no. It's kind of like noticing someone's new shirt in other cultures, but maybe with a slightly more active recognition of the effort they put in. It's just how conversations often flow.
Okay, so we've talked about the societal emphasis, the booming economy around K-beauty, but it's crucial now to consider the often invisible yet profound human cost, the cost of all this pervasive pressure. What are the psychological impacts on individuals, especially the younger generations who are striving to meet these really demanding ideals?
Yeah, this is the really heavy part. The pressure to conform to these intense, often just unattainable beauty standards. It can cause significant psychological and even physical harm. We see individuals undertaking risky cosmetic procedures, things that can lead to irreversible health problems or permanent disfigurement. And for those who don't conform or feel they can't conform, the consequences are often severe anxiety, a profound lack of confidence, and really deeply entrenched low self-esteem. It's a relentless, constant battle for many people just to try and meet these ideals. And the mental toll can be immense. It leads to a decline in overall well-being and, as we'll discuss, can even impact things like national productivity when so many people are struggling.
And this isn't just anecdotal, right? There's real research backing this up, especially concerning younger people in South Korea.
Indeed. There's compelling research. A study specifically looking at emerging adults, typically aged 19 to 24 in South Korea, found a clear and, frankly, deeply concerning association between perceived appearance discrimination and their self-rated health.
How so?
Those who reported consistent or even recent experiences of appearance discrimination had significantly higher odds of reporting poor self-rated health. So this suggests that the impact of lookism isn't just, a fleeting bad feeling. It genuinely affects a person's overall sense of well-being and health. It leads to tangible declines in how they perceive their own physical and mental status. It's a real measurable phenomenon.
That gets even more specific and honestly more heartbreaking when we look at adolescence. I mean, that's a time when self-consciousness is already sky-high everywhere.
Exactly. Adolescence is such a crucial and incredibly vulnerable period. Young people inherently start comparing themselves intensely to media portrayals, to their peers. Popularity, unfortunately, often becomes directly tied to how they look, pushing them to strive for this ideal appearance that's almost always unrealistic. And this is further amplified in a collectivistic society like South Korea, where individuals, particularly girls, tend to be acutely sensitive to how others judge their bodies.
So they feel the judgment more intensely.
It seems so, leading to increased self-criticism and just intense pressure to conform. The social mirror reflects back this impossibly high standard.
And what happens when there's that gap between their actual body and this ideal they're relentlessly chasing?
Well, that gap often leads to profound negative body perceptions. It's fueled by excessive comparisons, those unattainable ideals, and something researchers call social physique anxiety.
Social physique anxiety. What is that exactly?
It isn't just general nervousness. It's, at its core, the apprehension and distress an individual experiences when they're contemplating or actually in situations where their physical appearance might be observed and negatively evaluated by others.
Like a fear of being judged just for how you look.
A deep-seated fear of judgment, yeah. And it can be profoundly debilitating. This anxiety can manifest as severe body dissatisfaction, which is then further fueled by things like weight-related teasing from peers and, of course, those ever-present media ideals. It becomes a vicious cycle of striving and disappointment.
So what are the actual documented mental health consequences for these young people caught in this cycle? It sounds devastating.
The implications are frankly severe. Studies have consistently shown increased stress, pervasive feelings of sadness and despair, disturbing thoughts of suicide, and even the development of serious psychological disorders and eating disorders. And what's truly shocking, I think, is that even teenagers who are objectively at a normal weight or are even underweight may resort to harmful, dangerous methods to lose weight because of these overwhelming pressures.
Even if they're underweight.
Even then, which highlights a critical public health concern that goes far beyond simply feeling bad about how you look.
This truly sounds like a lose-lose situation, an impossible standard. Are there also significant differences between genders and across age groups within adolescence?
Absolutely. We see significant gender differences that paint a really worrying picture. For instance, one large study found that far more girls categorize themselves as fat compared to boys, even though the actual obesity rate in South Korea is statistically higher among males.
So girls feel fatter, even if they aren't necessarily.
Exactly. It suggests this deep and pervasive body dissatisfaction among girls. It makes them far more susceptible to body dysmorphia, perceiving themselves as larger than they are, and relentlessly idealizing an underweight physique. This contrasts quite sharply with boys, who tend to maybe externalize the value of thinness by disliking overweight individuals rather than internalizing the self-criticism to the same degree. And broadly speaking, female students showed a consistently worse mental health state across the board compared to male students, regardless of how they perceive their own body image.
So girls are basically internalizing this extreme thin ideal, making it part of their self-worth.
Precisely. They internalize that thin ideal to a much greater degree, leading to this constant fear of becoming overweight themselves. This internalization for girls seems to be a key driver of their self-perception issues and the related mental health challenges. Whereas boys, perhaps, direct their discomfort outward more often. It's a fundamental difference in how these societal pressures seem to manifest.
And within those self-perceived body image categories, who struggles the most? Does being very skinny have its own set of issues too? Or is it all focused on being perceived as fat?
It's not just one-sided, which is interesting. Among females, yes, the very fat category consistently showed the worst mental health state across all factors measured: stress, depression, suicidal ideation attempts. For males, however, the pattern was a bit more complex. While very fat males still had the highest stress and suicidal attempt rates, interestingly, very skinny males had higher rates of reported depression, suicidal thoughts, and planning suicide.
Really? Very skinny males?
Yeah. So it underscores that extreme perceptions at either end of the spectrum can be damaging for both genders. But the impact often manifests differently. It's a pervasive issue, not limited to just one body type perception.
And how does this self-perception change as adolescents get older, as they move through school, become more aware of societal expectations?
Well, the studies show a clear and, again, concerning trend. As students advance through school, they're more likely to classify themselves as fatter.
They feel fatter as they get older?
Generally, yes. From middle school to high school, the mean self-perceived body image scores tended to increase, indicating they felt more overweight as they aged. This body image distortion becomes increasingly pronounced in older students, which aligns with broader findings that self-esteem often declines most significantly during those late high school years. So it suggests a worsening self-perception over time, which has really profound implications for their long-term mental well-being and, their overall contribution to national productivity eventually. It's hard to function at your best when you're constantly battling these kinds of self-perception issues.
These are truly concerning statistics, especially when you think about the direct impact on young lives. Can you give us some specific, concrete examples? How do these self-perceptions directly link to severe mental health outcomes? Like the actual numbers.
Absolutely. Let's look at the very fat category from that large survey of South Korean adolescents. It provided some stark, really distressing figures. For stress levels, get this, over half, a staggering 52.84% of those perceiving themselves as very fat reported being very stressed or extremely stressed. That was the highest average among all groups.
Over half. Wow.
Yeah. When it came to depression, 32.85% in the very fat category said yes to experiencing it. Again, the highest percentage among all groups. But the most alarming figures really concerned suicidal ideation and attempts. A significant 18.82%, almost 1 in 5 of those perceiving themselves as very fat reported having suicidal thoughts.
1 in 5.
And tragically, suicidal planning was reported by 6.66% in this group, with actual suicidal attempts reported by 4.87%. These percentages were consistently the highest across all the self-perceived body image categories, demonstrating the statistically significant and profoundly worrying link between perceiving oneself as very fat and severe mental health issues. It really highlights the devastating negative social evaluations associated with fat bodies in that context, and the immense pressure to achieve an unhealthy thinness.
So it's absolutely not just feeling bad, it's leading to genuine distress, self-harm.
And ultimately, a significant drain on human potential and national well-being.
Yeah. Okay, so given the profound, often distressing impact of lookism that you've outlined, a really fascinating and complex debate arises. Should it be illegal? Should we actually legislate against discrimination based on physical appearance? This sounds like a huge legal and ethical minefield.
It absolutely is a minefield, a really tricky one. But there are compelling arguments on both sides. One powerful argument for legal intervention comes from scholars like Andrew Mason. He suggests that everyday lookism, people being judged, commented on based on appearance, isn't just rude. It's morally troubling and demeaning. Mason argues that these conventional beauty standards reinforce harmful societal norms. They diminish a person's inherent dignity, and they undermine core social values like equality and fairness. And he points out, importantly, that this discrimination can be even worse for already marginalized groups, people facing scrutiny based on race, gender, socioeconomic status. Lookism can compound those existing injustices.
It hits them on multiple levels.
Exactly.
So his argument is basically, if discrimination based on immutable characteristics like race or gender is illegal because it harms dignity and equality,
right,
why not appearance?
That's precisely the core of his argument. He contends that lookism causes significant psychological and physical harm. He points directly to those risky cosmetic procedures we talked about, the pervasive anxiety, the profound low self-esteem experienced by so many. He frames it in terms of control, which is interesting. Some harms are completely out of an individual's control, right? Like a child being fat-shamed for their natural body type. Others involve limited control, maybe someone undergoing surgery due to intense anxiety where they feel compelled to change because of overwhelming societal pressure. And while some aspects might be seen as personal choices, even those can be heavily influenced by external pressures. So Mason believes legal frameworks aren't just helpful, they're essential. Essential to challenge these harmful norms and to dismantle the unfair advantages and disadvantages tied to physical appearance if we want a truly equitable society.
That's a compelling case for intervention for sure. But then there must be strong counter-arguments, right, to something this complex.
Definitely. And they're powerful too. Critics argue that legal intervention is just far too simplistic. It could lead to excessive, maybe even absurd regulation. The biggest hurdle, and it's a colossal one, is defining beauty in a legal context. How do you even begin to do that?
Right, it's so subjective.
Exactly. Yeah. It's inherently subjective, incredibly culturally fluid. What's considered attractive changes dramatically across cultures, even historically. Think about beauty standards for women just over the last century, from the curvaceous ideals maybe in Renaissance Europe to the super slim, boyish figures of the 1920s flapper era to today's varied ideals. How do you possibly create a clear, universally enforceable legal standard when beauty is constantly evolving and intensely personal? And it would also be really challenging to define what truly constitutes discrimination based on appearance, making laws potentially intrusive, vague, and just really difficult to apply consistently.
So if it ever actually went to court, a judge or jury might just end up bringing their own biases into the courtroom. That sounds messy.
Precisely. Leading to inconsistent, unpredictable, and potentially deeply unfair outcomes. And here's a truly uncomfortable, almost Kafkaesque thought experiment. If a court ruled that lookism did occur and found in favor of the plaintiff, it might effectively label that plaintiff ugly by law.
Oh, wow. That's awful.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
It could perversely perpetuate the very stigma it aims to dismantle and potentially cause even deeper psychological harm than the initial discrimination. It presents this impossible choice for someone seeking justice. Risk a legal branding that is profoundly damaging just to fight the discrimination. It's a profound dilemma.
That's a really powerful point, risking a legal branding of ugly to seek justice. And then there's the argument you touched on earlier about personal control over appearance, how that sets it apart.
Yes. Some scholars argue that lookism is fundamentally different from discrimination based on immutable characteristics like race or disability, things you cannot change. They point out that people do have a degree of control over their appearance through grooming, clothing choices, makeup, and yes, cosmetic procedures. If you don't like your eyelashes, you can get extensions. If you're unhappy with your nose shape, you can contour it or get a rhinoplasty. So this perspective asks, if beauty is, at least to some extent, modifiable, does the case for legal protection become more complicated compared to characteristics that are entirely unchangeable? It shifts the burden of responsibility, for better or worse.
And how do industries that explicitly rely on appearance fit into this, like fashion, entertainment, even hospitality? Their whole business model can be built on aesthetics?
That's a critical point in the debate. Researchers like Peter Takat and others argue that in many customer-facing roles, an employee's appearance can significantly impact customer satisfaction and the overall success of the business. Attractive employees might, just by their presence, draw more customers or enhance a brand's image, which directly boosts revenue. It's a commercial reality. Ignoring these demand preferences or customer expectations, they argue, could severely harm a business's competitive edge. They contend that restricting a company's freedom to hire or promote based on appearance could stifle economic growth and innovation, especially in sectors where physical presentation is just integral to the service provided. Think high fashion modeling, acting, luxury hospitality.
Right. It's a real tension there between individual rights and economic realities. Very complex. Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Let's talk about the broader global impact of South Korean culture. What we know as the Korean wave or Hallyu, it's clearly not just beauty products anymore, it's everything. Music, movies, food, fashion, it's everywhere.
That's right. And it's actually a very deliberate long-term effort by the nation. South Korea has a stated national goal to be the world's leading exporter of popular culture.
A national goal.
Yeah, it's not just a happy accident. Even former U.S. President Barack Obama notably referenced the Korean waves during a state visit, highlighting its growing significance on the global stage. This is a quintessential example of soft power influencing through cultural allure rather than, say, military might or economic coercion. And it's undeniably working. The continued popularity and expansion of Hallyu are driven by factors like the improved global image of Korean brands, think Samsung, Hyundai, significant government investment in R&D for cultural content, and of course the international acclaim of Korean entertainment, like the film Parasite, which famously won 4 Oscars, including Best Picture, a first for a non-English language film. That was huge.
Absolutely huge. So we've seen K-pop dominate charts, K-dramas capture audiences everywhere, even Korean food becoming incredibly trendy globally. How does this overwhelming influence translate into concrete consumer behavior, say in places like India, for example? Does it really change how people shop?
Well, a recent study specifically focusing on northeastern Indian youth provides some fascinating and really granular insights into exactly that question. It shows how profoundly the Korean wave impacts purchasing decisions, and it breaks it down in a few ways. First, there's a powerful cultural connection. Participants felt this surprisingly strong resonance with Korean dramas. Things like the food depicted often reminded them of their own local cultural practices. One participant actually said, "Their food reminds me of home. I bought tteokbokki because I saw it in dramas, and it looks so yummy, like something my grandma would make, but spicier."
Huh. That's great.
Isn't it? Others were directly inspired by K-drama fashion to buy specific clothes, or they started incorporating sheet masks into their routines because they saw the characters doing it. They see these as direct extensions of the appealing, aspirational lifestyles on screen. It builds this cultural bridge through entertainment.
Makes sense. What else?
Then there's the undeniable force of celebrity influence. K-pop idols, K-drama actors, they are absolutely enormous influencers. Fans don't just admire them. They actively emulate their appearances. They follow their beauty routines meticulously, adopt their fashion choices down to the smallest detail.
They want to look like their idols.
Exactly. One person in the study shared, "I bought a Puma sneaker because I saw Lisa from Blackpink wearing it in a dance practice video. If she wears it, I need it." Another said, "I saw Jenny from Blackpink using a specific lip balm, and I wanted to try it too. It looked so natural on her." Even huge global brands like Samsung report significant sales boosts from endorsements by groups like BTS. It shows that direct, tangible link between celebrity and consumer choice. It's like having a million personal shoppers and your favorite stars.
Wow. Okay, cultural connections, celebrity influence. What else drives it?
A third equally potent factor is product aesthetics. The innovative and incredibly eye-catching packaging of Korean products plays a massive, almost hypnotic role. Consumers absolutely love how visually appealing the packaging is. It makes even simple items like sheet masks feel like gifts because they look so adorable or elegant.
The packaging is often amazing.
It really is. The minimalistic yet cute designs, the carefully chosen color palettes, the unique fonts, it all contributes to this almost irresistible unboxing experience. And seeing favorite idols on limited edition packaging, that definitely drives impulse buys, even for products they might not strictly need. Who can resist a face mask with their bias on the wrapper? Right?
Totally get that. Okay, and the last factor.
And finally, there's perceived quality. Beyond the pretty packaging and the celebrity endorsements, K-beauty products are widely valued for their genuine effectiveness. Consumers are consistently impressed by visible results, like with COSRX snail mucin that became famous for its healing properties, or the lightweight, effective beauty of Yosun sunscreen. This tangible effectiveness leads to strong brand trust and repeat purchases. So it's this powerful combination: cultural resonance, aspirational celebrities, appealing design, and effective products. It creates this unparalleled force in global consumer markets.
So it's a perfect storm, really. Cultural connections, celebrity endorsement, genuinely good product design, and the products actually work. But surely there are challenges that come with this level of global reach. It can't all be smooth sailing.
No, absolutely not. Despite the booming success, cost and accessibility remain significant barriers for many international consumers. Many Korean products, while maybe considered reasonably priced within Korea, can become quite expensive once you add international shipping and customs fees. It makes them less affordable for a broader global audience.
Yeah, shipping can be brutal.
Exactly. And there's also the ongoing issue of limited shade diversity in Korean cosmetics. This is a major concern for many international consumers, particularly those with deeper skin tones. As one participant in that India study noted quite pointedly, "The BB cream I bought online was way too light for my skin tone."
That's a common complaint I've heard.
It is. These issues highlight critical areas where the industry could significantly improve inclusivity and accessibility. If they want to further expand their global reach and truly embrace a diverse consumer base, they need to address things like shade range and maybe regional pricing strategies.
Good point. This all really highlights how these cultural trends, fueled by media and sophisticated marketing, can become massive economic forces and wield significant soft power. But it also brings us back to a related and often sensitive topic: cultural appropriation. We've certainly seen conversations, sometimes controversies about K-pop and even some aspects of other East Asian trends like Garut culture, engaging with elements from other cultures, particularly Black culture.
Yeah, this is a very nuanced point. And it's made even more complex by cultural differences in understanding these things.
Yeah.
Many East Asian countries, South Korea included, are historically and still largely monocultural compared to the diverse multicultural societies common in the West. Because of this, some within these cultures might perceive elements from other cultures, hairstyles, clothing styles, musical genres, as simply concepts, like artistic tools or visual styles that can be incorporated into music videos, fashion, or performances without necessarily understanding the deeper history or significance.
So they might see it as appreciation.
For people within these more homogeneous cultures, they might genuinely view it as cultural appreciation or admiration rather than appropriation, perhaps due to a lack of exposure or education on the historical context, the power dynamics involved, especially when borrowing from marginalized cultures. It might be less malicious intent and more of a cultural blind spot.
But the conversation shifts dramatically when you look at it from the perspective of the marginalized culture, doesn't it? The impact can be very different from the intention.
Precisely. The impact is key. For example, some commentators, particularly those from Black and South Asian diasporic communities, have pointed out that when Black hairstyles like locks or braids are used in K-pop, they are almost exclusively seen in concepts labeled cool, fierce, or aggressive. almost never in concepts considered cute or innocent.
Interesting observation.
And this pattern, they argue, can inadvertently reinforce negative stereotypes associated with these styles within other societies. It can feel like using culture as a costume, especially when the very same styles are often discriminated against in other contexts.
Like being deemed unprofessional or unsuitable for a Black person in an office setting in the West, for example.
Exactly. It raises that critical question about intention versus impact. Even if the intention is genuine appreciation, the impact can be harmful due to a lack of understanding of the broader cultural significance and historical context.
It really highlights how much can get lost in translation when cultural expressions cross borders without a deeper understanding of their roots and the power dynamics involved.
Absolutely. It shows how interconnected these appearance-driven trends are globally and how complex the cultural conversations around them can become.
Wow, what an incredible deep dive this has been into the complex, often contradictory world of lookism and its just wide-ranging ripple effects. We started with the literal size of a head being a profound compliment. We traversed through a multi-billion-dollar global beauty industry, explored the profound mental health challenges faced by adolescents under this pressure, and observed the truly global spread of these cultural trends.
It really does reveal the intricate ways in which deeply ingrained societal values, intense competitive pressures, and ubiquitous global media all converge to shape our perceptions of beauty and its far-reaching consequences. It's a vivid reminder of how deeply appearance can be woven into every single aspect of life, driving everything from personal well-being and self-worth to immense international economic influence. It's fascinating to consider how this relentless pursuit of an aesthetic ideal, which often begins as a personal goal for so many individuals, how that can transform into a driving force for an entire nation's economic output, its soft power, while simultaneously placing this immense, sometimes crippling burden on the mental health of its citizens, especially its youth, who are striving constantly to meet these very standards.
A real paradox.
It is.
Yeah.
The beauty we see, the polished image, often masks a really complex, powerful, and sometimes quite painful reality just beneath the surface.